Enterprise Management 360, your main source for tech news, analysis, podcasts, and videos for the enterprise.
Welcome to the EM360 Podcast, where we have a weekly conversation with people who are impacting the enterprise tech landscape. My name is George Firican, your data expert, and I'm your host for today. Today I'm joined by Derek Corrick, GM Data, Pivotree, and Justin Anovick, Chief Product Officer of Syndigo. And we're here to talk about unlocking value through content strategy. Welcome, Derek. Welcome, Justin.
Hey there. Nice to be here.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Pleasure is all mine. Now, in our digitally driven world where every interaction counts and competition is really just a click away, the importance of a robust content strategy cannot be emphasized enough. It's not just about creating content, it's about crafting experiences, building trust, and establishing a strong brand voice in this bustling and hustling business environment. So, Derek, I just want to hear a little bit more about yourself, and then Justin, off to you.
Well, hey there. I'm Derek. As you mentioned, I'm head of the data practice here at Pivotree, and what we're looking to do is we're looking to help people, deliver better product content to their customers to drive. We talk about the fact that in commerce, throughout the history of commerce, it's been four basic pillars. It's been find. Can you find what you want? Trust. Can I trust the person I'm doing business with? The ability to buy it, and then the ability to get it, and have the and have that continued trust through the actually receiving the thing that you thought you were going to get. And that's really what's it used to be done face to face, handshake to handshake, looking the person in the eye. And now it's being done through digital means, which means that the data that is being provided to those end customers, needs to be of sufficient quality that you can drive that trust and get them to make sure they can find you, drive the trust, and then get them to buy what you what you have in the market.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation, Justin.
Yeah, so my name is Justin Anovick, again, as you mentioned, Chief Product Officer at Syndigo. I do just want to mention that my older brother's name is Derek, and I hope that this Derek doesn't bully me the same way that my older brother did. So we'll see. I'll chime in at the end to see if I feel like it was a safe space. But that was a while ago. I should let it go. But anyhow, we provide the ability for brands, suppliers, and the like to be able to share their content and store their product data. So if you think about going to a website, you see a litany of brands that are listed that you can buy, whether that's looking on Amazon, whether that's going to some place like Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever. You think, how does that content data get there? How is it consistent? Well, that's the capabilities that we provide. We help ensure that when those brands in these instances are entering and trying to syndicate their data, it's consistent with those hardliners or those retailers' requirements. And then as well, if you're one of those brands and you have all this product data that you want to store, or you have supplier, customer, any of that type of data, that's what we do. We ensure that our customers can govern, ensure that there's high quality of that data to be able to distribute, syndicate, share in a variety of sources, whether it's in store or whether it's online.
So Derek, let's talk a little bit more about that. How do Syndigo and Pivotree work together? Can you describe the context of why both of you are here together on this podcast?
You bet. Yeah. So Pivotree is really focused on the data itself. So we're focused on helping customers with, quality, completeness, consistency of it across, business operations and channels, and helping customers with strategies to build taxonomies and relationships and all that sort of thing with the data itself to make sure that it's of high quality and complete with everything they do. Syndigo provides a master data platform as well as a syndication platform that helps us have a central place where we're organizing the data, driving the governance, ensuring the quality, creating the relationships between data components. So whether they be product to product relationships, product to supplier, product to customer. And then obviously Syndigo then gives us the capability of sending that data on to channels. So whether that be a marketplace channel, whether that be a retailer channel, whether that be a B2B channel, distributor channel, any of that. So Pivotree focuses on the data, the interoperability of that data with internal systems, and then we work very closely with Syndigo to provide really outstanding platforms that give us a place to do all that great work.
Thank you, Derek. I love how that really ties in with what you mentioned earlier on the 5 pillars of find, trust, ability to buy, to get, and then, of course, actually getting what you bought in the first place. Right. So can we talk a little bit more about that symbiotic relationship between product content and customer experience? Those are really pivotal. So Justin, I want to ask you first, how does product content enhance customer experience? And if you can share some insights or examples from Syndigo's perspective.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the best examples are the ones that are problematic for that end customer, right? They're being impacted. It hurts the brand experience. They provide a bad review. They have to provide returns. I mean, we've seen examples where, someone orders a toothbrush and it comes and it's 4 feet long. And that was either because the brand didn't put in the right dimensions, or potentially the data quality monitors were not there to ensure that says you can't have a 4-foot toothbrush. Or there's a legitimate example where a customer ordered a Christmas tree, thought it was 9'6", but it was 96 feet. And luckily it, was canceled before it ever arrived at the house. Imagine sitting at your house, you hear this big truck pull up and you're thinking, am I Rockefeller Center? But that's where it starts, right? So certainly the data quality drives a significant amount of that experience, but also just the overall descriptions. If you go to Amazon and it has consistent information up top, it's pretty bland. You scroll down below the fold, and then it gives a more elaborate and accentuated version of that. It might have videos, images. It might have actual customer reviews beyond just written reviews, and so that's providing a greater view into what that product could be. And so certainly that connection between the product content, product data, and that customer experience, I think is everything. The physical product is one thing. If you went into a store, great, you could see that wasn't a 4-foot toothbrush, or you could see it wasn't a 96-foot Christmas tree, but you also want to understand a little bit more about it. What type of Christmas tree is it? Or what type of bristles does that toothbrush have? And so the description of it becomes just as important. Now you go to the online world and you can't see it. You have to absolutely trust that the description is accurate, or you have a really bad experience. And so certainly that data quality and the data details and the content details become important in that online world.
Absolutely. That metadata is so important, and its accuracy, it's paramount to the customer journey. So Derek, from Pivotree's standpoint, how do you see the role of product content shaping the overall customer journey?
And there are really, I think, a couple of things that we look at. And we've actually done quite a bit of market research, and a big part of our focus at Pivotree is obviously in commerce, in supply chain, and sort of how data works with those, works in those areas to kind of drive outcomes. And so in some of our research, when you think about, what creates, abandonment, right? When people are going to look and not being able to filter results, not being, searching for something and not getting a return, things like that, become reasons why people can't find your product. And one of the things that we run into quite a lot, and you'd be surprised, is, people who are in digital commerce coming to us and saying, hey, we've got a search problem and we'd like you to take a look at our search engine. And you look at the search engine and you start to kind of work it backwards, and you realize the problem is actually the data itself. And once you fix the data, the search engine actually does quite okay. The other thing in the strategy on the findability part is that you need to distinguish yourself from your competitors. So one of the things that we do a lot of work with is how do we make sure that we're giving our customers a strategic advantage in helping their products, sort of scale that search ladder. And then the other thing is, as Justin said, it's the quality. So, the core attributes, do you have feet somewhere, but, centimeters, or, but like meters somewhere else? Do you have, does it make sense, when you look at it, and is it correct? So that data quality is one thing. The other thing that's important is completeness. Do I have all the attributes and selling features available? The third thing is completeness. Is it the same across all of my various selling channels, whether it be in marketplace, branded websites, in my stores, and then finally, I think that, those are the main things that we really look for. Is that quality, the completeness, and then the other thing that we find that's very helpful is really good metadata on digital assets. So digital assets attached to products with good metadata generally tend to drive a much better find ability, which obviously drives much better customer experience. The other thing, though, and the last thing I'll say is like how we put that strategy together really matters, because if you don't have your data organized well, you don't necessarily have the ability to drive that left-hand navigation, which lets you do a lot of the filtering and faceted search, which is another thing that really drives better customer experience and better satisfaction. We found is the ability to do that, and that's something that's really important to think about when you're driving your product content strategy.
And I think that there's complications that exist, those are all critical. I think what we see is that the variations, or we both see is, the variations become complicated, meaning you could have your own store, your own .com, you control all of that, you can publish, the consistency, how you want it to look, how you want it to display, how you want it to operate. And so, controlling that becomes much easier, right? Because you've set the rules. I think where we see the complications that start to really permeate, I mean, that's complicated enough, right? To make sure that you get a consistent, right, accurate, and, you can have folks entering it correctly. But now what about when you have to share somewhere else? It's not your .com, it's not your store. And so, there's this, view, it's my data, my way, that first example, my data, your way, and keeping that consistent while, making sure that you continue to own your brand voice, make sure that you continue to own all that, but you fit within the confines of a third party. In this case, they're the ones that are controlling what needs to happen. And it's their consistency that allows the different suppliers, brands to be able to, publish to those. So that ends up being complicated. And, Pivotree is great at, looking at that, understanding it, what the strategy is, and then using applications like ours in order to, fit into those environments. But it's not just a one size fits all in this, and it becomes complicated because now you exponentially increase the number of additional retail sites that you want to send to. We have customers that do, 1,000 different, technically there could be 1,000 different rules and requirements, yet you still have to fit your own brand into those. So it becomes pretty complicated if you're not setting out to do it correctly. And obviously if the applications or you're running it through Excel, it becomes impossible to moderate.
And I feel that the business complexity that you've mentioned, if not managed properly, will just add to that poor data quality that gets created.
That's right. Well, and the other thing to think about too is just time to market. And how much kind of cost and time and everything like that. So it's opportunity cost, but it's also real cost of people trying to configure data as Justin said in spreadsheets to try to get it out to a Home Depot or something like that. And you'd be amazed the more channels you have and the more manual work you're doing to get that data where it needs to go. And maybe you met the standard and maybe you didn't, and things are getting thrown back at you, and you've got to log into a particular supplier portal across however many different destinations you have. That's where the technology and the platform become really critical, because because you really can't scale your ability to sell into various channels, on the syndication side, without that technology advantage.
Absolutely. And I think it's something to keep in mind that, yes, technology is needed, but sometimes companies, I think, through their lifetime or through the evolution of technology itself, companies have implemented a myriad of systems, and each with its own set of processes and standards, which yet again, it's another cause of that poor data quality and inconsistencies in metadata that you both mentioned. So Derek, in your experiences at Pivotree, what are some of the primary causes of technical debt that companies accrue?
One of the biggest places we see it are people who've grown through acquisition, and really what we're talking about, when you think about technology, most folks have a lot of it, right? We've got an ERP or 50 ERPs. We've got commerce systems. We've got we've got accounting systems, logistics systems, warehousing systems, all kinds of stuff. But what ends up happening is the data ends up being, configured or formed or managed for that particular system, not even necessarily for the business operation, but really for the system itself. And all of a sudden you lose track of it. You don't have visibility to it. You've got data sprawl everywhere. And so for me, the challenge of technical debt is really that idea that you've got older systems, probably multiple systems, where the data isn't easily accessible, easily available, and not well governed. And so what we really look to do is help people overcome that by at least getting control over the data. And then once you have control over the data and you're starting to get the insights and the visibility and all the rest of it, all the challenges, and not all, but many of the challenges that you have with legacy systems and disparate systems, they get less impactful. And so this is really a place where we focus our attention to try to see how we can help people, overcome those challenges by actually, getting their hands on the data itself, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And Justin, anything that you want to add from Syndigo's perspective?
Yeah, we look at it a few ways to add on to Derek's commentary. Certainly, modern architecture, cloud native. What does that mean? Why does that make a difference? Well, it allows us to, help create capabilities faster and increase that, speed up the time to market. But we've also focused on, from our perspective, tech consolidation. An organization might have 5-6 different vendors that we as one can do the same of. And so when you think about technical debt, certainly, we have it in our own organization managing our MarTech stacks, right? We have, a product that does emails, we have another one that does ABM, we have another one that does, different tracking. And so it takes time, it takes resources, it takes all of that to learn these various applications. It takes time to integrate them. And so from our perspective, we help reduce the technical debt for sure by that tech consolidation, but allows us to do it much easier because, we're on a we build a cloud native platform.
Thank you. Now, Justin, I feel like AI is top of mind for every consumer now and every company, right?
I was wondering how we were going to get there.
So how is Syndigo leveraging AI, machine learning to drive content strategies? How is that bringing value to your clients?
Sure. So, growing up, AI to us was Allen Iverson. So it's definitely moved on from there. I just thought of that. That was a pretty stupid joke.
That was very clever. No, actually, no. If I was your older brother, I'd probably bully you over that one, but I actually liked it quite a lot.
Yeah, good. Thanks for not bullying me. It's still a safe space. So anywhere that we can help not reduce the number of people you need so that you can, let go of those folks, but to help improve efficiency. Almost everything that we talked about today, we have an AI element running in the application. So for instance, if you want to, as a brand, send over your Christmas tree description, you have to, to Lowe's, you have to, or wherever, you have to enter, 25 different fields. Well, those fields are doing auto checks against what there should be. So some of them are just basic rules, knowing that you can't have more than 72 characters. Others are checking, does this actually make sense? And so it's going in and checking, against a corpus as well as imagery, as well as like if you're entering and, if you added an image that actually doesn't abide by, the rules and regulations of that site, it could check it to, alert that that's not appropriate and we can't actually complete it. So on the quality side and the governance, really, it's doing a significant amount of AI is doing a significant amount of checks to ensure that you pass all of those rules, if you will. And then also, more recently, certainly with, the advent and introduction of ChatGPT, everybody's really trying to figure out how to go against that. From our perspective, ChatGPT certainly helps, but going against a known corpus using something like Axiomantics or one of those is also critical. But our focus is really how do we help the marketer, merchandiser create effective and engaging and exciting and exceptional descriptions over and over again without having to, hire a significant amount of copywriters. So all the way through the process, from pure data entry to the creative, we have, included different elements over the years or more recently to help make sure things are more efficient, to help make sure that, those checks and balances occur. Because the worst thing that you could do is you thought that you submitted it, you just added 27 products, you're going to send them only to find out a week and a half later that an individual rejected all of those because of, a too long description or you had the wrong image. And then that's the time to market. Now imagine that recycling over and over again. You've just lost that amount of time times two because you have to go through the same process. So AI really helps behind the scenes as you're using the application and doing data entry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're starting to really leverage AI extensively in our data practice in a couple of significant ways. So just one example is a joint customer actually, with Syndigo, that was an automotive. It's an automotive distributor, where we were able to help them, map part information to the automotive PIE's, part standard, and do all the auto classification, increasing their efficiency by over 50%. We're using, AI to build like, initial data models and taxonomies, 75, 80% faster. And we're starting to use machine learning or what we might call supervised learning to, to drive, SKU build and completeness and quality for syndication. So just an example I can give you is recently we've had an electrical distributor where they were, they had an aspiration to get to sort of the millions of SKUs thing online. They had, they were able to really manage about 350,000 with their old processes. And then we implemented a machine learning or kind of supervised learning capability. And they were able within 6 months to go from 350,000 SKUs, high quality SKUs online, to 1.2 million high quality SKUs online. So you can obviously see and do it less costly and faster. So those are the kinds of things that we're really trying to do with the machine learning and AI. But obviously we see a lot more potential. But that's just one of the those are just a couple of concrete examples of places where we're delivering those capabilities to customers and really helping to drive an outcome.
You are really changing industries. And, I like that example about the automotive distributor that he had. Are there any lessons there that can be applied to other industries or sectors just looking to modernize their data infrastructure and data strategy?
Well, the automotive, aftermarket, automotive aftermarket industry is a little unique in that they do have a pretty well recognized standard for, parts and fitment that you can tag into. I think the basic ideas around how we do that in terms of how do we classify the data and make sure it's more complete, make sure you've got better quality information on your parts, attaching it to different applications and fitment. I think the things that we're learning from the automotive industry are things that are transferable to to other sectors. I think, but they've been a little bit slow to be adopted. So I think there's an opportunity for more standardization. But in the absence of that, I think, as we're helping people build out these data models and taxonomies and all the rest of it, helping them do that, helping them concentrate on spending less energy and capital on things that aren't strategically differentiating. So how do we very quickly get you to, a sensible taxonomy that makes sense? How do we make sure that you have, quality and completeness across your parts? But then how do we do things that really drive value to your customer? And that you've got, you understand, the places that it fits. You understand what the applications are. You've got better information so that so that people can actually, understand what this product is, and even, potentially, tied to videos and how-dos and all the rest of it. But today, so many people spend all their time and energy just on the table stakes that they don't ever actually get to the things that are really going to drive, better customer experience and more customer value.
Thank you. Now, Justin, you mentioned that you're leveraging AI anywhere from the data entry to the creative. I'm really curious about that creative piece. Do you have any recommended best practices for that solid content strategy to then better inform that creative?
Yeah, there's certainly, you could use ChatGPT as long as you're using the API, to create something more creative. There's a chance that, obviously that's already been used and it's just reformatting, going against a known corpus of content that you can then kind of refactor is important. But I would say most of our customers are looking at the first pass, the first draft as a representative example, and then go ahead and edit it. So, I have I have to create 20 product descriptions. I need to feed it in to give me a starting point. And it's almost like BASF, the old tagline, right? They didn't make the product, they made the product better. I think that the marketer and the creative merchandiser, can feed off of that and improve it, because there is also, the quality element that it could be wrong if it's not against the known corpus. And you have to make sure to have those checks and balances, that what you're saying is 100% accurate. So I'd say that the best examples are using the editors as using the individuals to feed in the first option, but then to edit from there.
Thank you. Derek, is there anything that you wanted to add from your end on those best practices?
No, I think that's really, good. The one thing that is interesting is before all of this started, so much of the work that we did around taxonomy, schema, classification, all the rest of it, all of it was manual and very, very difficult. Spreadsheets, we created sometimes, you create some custom tooling around it or something like that to make it a little bit easier. And that is the one thing that having, ChatGPT available has really done is it's made that, at least the initial pass, as Justin said, more automated. And what you begin to realize is that when you can put it kind of out into the world with that scope of, referential material to come back, it very quickly helps you start to get that stuff in place. And the thing that you realize, and at least I've been realizing, is that, over the years before, we had some of the technology advancements we have, we just spent so much time and energy and effort and money on table stakes that weren't strategically differentiating. And this is where I think in the content strategy, if we can sort of get people to rally around the idea that there's some things, when you're putting together sort of a base product centric taxonomy that is meant to drive the product attribution and drive completeness and all the rest of it, there's very little about that that's going to be differentiating. Your differentiators are going to come later in how you market it and how you in the completeness of the data and the story you're able to tell and all the rest of it. So for me, this is giving us an opportunity to really think about how we spend our capital so that we're not spending it on things that we should be able to just get very quickly, but we're spending it on things that are really going to make a difference to our customers and drive and really drive that experience and really drive that brand specific, brand specific, whatever the word is, view, like where we're really making a difference because it's us and not just because it's a product in general.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed this deep dive into the synergistic relationship between Syndigo and Pivotree and exploring the intricate interplay between product content and customer experience. And thank you both for enlightening us on the pivotal role of technology, data, AI, and other differentiator that played that crucial role in shaping content strategy. So thank you.
Thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun, Justin. It's always great to get to spend time with you. So I really, really appreciate your time as well.
Yes. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
And I love the fact on how now, we know as companies, how can we avoid purchasing that 4-foot long toothbrush or a Christmas tree that is, Rockefeller Center worthy, unless, of course, that's what the customer wanted.
I would have thought that the price, like when they clicked buy, that would have been the first clue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a data entry problem. So yeah, those are two actual real examples. And if we had video, you would have seen my actual 4-foot long toothbrush that I used as a prop. So,
that's hilarious.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining us today. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey of discovery. And I hope that you found this session as enlightening as I did. So stay tuned for more insightful discussions in our upcoming episodes. Thank you to everyone listening. We hope you took a lot away from today's podcast. For further information on what we've talked about, and then please head on over to pivotree.com. We'll be back next week with another episode in our podcast series. Until then, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms. Follow the conversation on our socials at EM360 Tech on Twitter or X and LinkedIn. And for more great daily content, head over to em360tech.com.